Well, voter turnout has been pretty low so far, as it historically is for a primary election in a non-presidential year. But what's interesting is that experts say voters are engaging in strategic voting. So rather than voting for their candidate of choice, many seem to be voting for the candidate they know can advance to the November runoff.
In these early days, it's always the case of it's better to be here and not be needed than to not be here and be needed.
Ever since the pandemic, Eben Burgoon has helped at polling booths in Sacramento County. We met him Monday morning to talk about the June primary election. Burgoon says turnout has been slow but diverse.
I think primaries are one of the most important moments to get your voice into the ballot box, because there's a multitude of candidates, but it means that people are a little slower about making up their mind.
Which is exactly what we're seeing statewide. About 7% of ballots returned, according to election data expert Paul Mitchell's tracker.
We do see higher relative Republican turnout. And secondly, we see this real drop in Democratic turnout, particularly among some older, really high propensity voters.
Why is that? Political experts say it's different reasons for Democrats versus Republicans. For Republicans, with candidates Steve Hilton and Chad Bianco, they finally feel competitive for a statewide office.
So that gives Republican voters, something to vote for.
Republicans in the state have had this kind of doom and gloom sense where why bother vote? It's a deep blue state.
Plus more early voting and voting by mail, which the California Republican Party has been pushing.
Republicans need to vote Republican and mail in their ballot today. It's very simple. We need to get everybody's vote in now.
For Democrats, a more crowded, complicated field. A lack of consolidation on the Dem side.
Yeah, I think we do have this added factor where a lot of these voters who are holding onto their ballots, they might have a preferred candidate, and they might actually not vote for their preferred candidate and instead vote for a candidate that's more viable because they're concerned about this impact of the top two.
In which the top two vote getters, regardless of party, advance to the November general runoff. So Democratic voters are engaging in strategic voting, Mitchell says, to not get boxed out of November.
This mechanics of our election system, the way our primary works, is impacting how voters are viewing their vote.
The state Democratic Party dismissing concerns over voters holding ballots.
Democrats and Republicans are beginning to move in towards specific candidates.
Advice for those still uncertain.
Well, first off, I say vote, right? And get to a point where you feel as comfortable as possible with that vote.
Remember, primary election day is Tuesday, June 2nd, but election officials are encouraging those voting by mail to do so ASAP, at least a week before election day, to make sure their vote is counted. Ballots must be postmarked by election day and can be received by election officials up until a week after. Jenny Ha, News 8.